All right, I've got a video for you today. I've got a video. You know, we all love a good room makeover, right? But sometimes we don't have the budget to do it. But luckily for you, you don't have to spend a bunch of money to make an impact on a space. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you different ways that you can refresh and transform your room using things you already own. Yes. No shopping at all required, no money spent, just using things you already own to make your space feel entirely new and transformed. And that's what we love. We love that. So that being said, the first thing on this list is by simply rearranging your furniture. Think back to a time when you were younger and you lived at your parents' house and you didn't have your own place yet and you wanted your room to feel different, so you moved your bed from one corner to the other and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, what just happened? Yeah, that is still impactful to this day. So I highly recommend rearranging your furniture, maybe push your couch somewhere else. Get creative, move it around, maybe try an entirely new layout in your room that you never thought of before, because sometimes you might come up with something incredible and other times you might not, but you know, it's a risk you gotta take if you're trying to make over your room without spending anything. And if you're a little confused on how you should maybe lay out your room to have it flow properly, you can always Google different rooms and find ones that look similar to yours to kind of help you figure out what the best layout could be for that. Or just take time out of your day and put your furniture in a bunch of different ways to see what works and what feels like it flows the best. Also take into consideration functional zones in your home. Another thing that you can do regarding furniture is you can also swap furniture between rooms. Maybe you have a side table next to your couch currently and it could go better next to your bed. You ever think about that? This will also make your room feel entirely different, and we love the feeling of having a new space. The next idea on this list is by reorganizing and decluttering. This will also be extremely impactful to your space. Sometimes you just have too much. Let's be real. It's that simple. Sometimes you just have way too much decor on one shelf. And if you got rid of some things and you created some space there, it's gonna look not only nicer, but it's also going to flow better and feel entirely new. So if you have too much stuff, maybe take some time to declutter. I know this can be difficult, especially if you have lots of items that you've collected over the years, but at some point you have to realize that it might be making you feel stressed and it might make you feel like you don't like your space, and you're not going to know what that feels like till it's gone. Also, if you don't want to like actually get rid of things, you can also put stuff away maybe in a box in storage and take some things away and wait. No. This is what I did to declutter. So what I did was I removed all of my decor from everywhere and I only grabbed the pieces that I felt fit in that space on certain surfaces. So in doing that by itself, I got rid of like 50% of the items because I just had too much. You know what I mean? Like I put out the items I really wanted that worked well, and then everything else I was like, well, wait, where would you go unless I'm gonna clutter up this area with a bunch of stuff that doesn't really need to be there. And I think creating space in spots that you currently have that are over cluttered just helps in general with it feeling new. The next idea is to rearrange your decor. This kind of goes into decluttering, where you take away everything and you add only the things that you feel fit in that space. But of course, if you've already done that and it still feels off, just try rearranging it. Most likely it's because it just doesn't feel balanced. Take some time to do this. It will take a second, especially if you're not the most decisive person. Like me. I don't think there's a rule of, okay, technically there's like a rule of thumb, right? But I also like to go by how a room makes me feel, because maybe to most people my space doesn't feel warm and cozy, but to me it does, and it really comes down to how I feel in the space because I live in it, you know? But also what goes into rearranging your decor items is swapping out different items and putting other items there. So, you know, maybe a vase can go where a little trinket was, or maybe you add some books to a shelf, or you remove the books, or maybe you just switch decor items from one room to another. I feel like that's my favorite one, because once you have a different room and you start switching items from this room to the other, it automatically just feels totally different. You can also display items in a new way by like grouping them together, and you can do this by like putting things in groups of threes, or maybe you get like a tray that you already own and you put everything on that so it feels less cluttered and more intentional, like you meant to put it there, sort of thing. Another thing that you can do is reorganize items you already have in an aesthetically pleasing way. For instance, in your closet, if you currently have a bunch of items in your closet and they aren't color coordinated, why not just try making them color coordinated in your closet? Because I'm telling you, I know that's not like a space that's out in the open. Maybe it is for you if you have a clothing rack, but for the most part, when I walk into my closet and it feels organized and clean, it feels like an entirely new space. But something else you can also do, which is, I guess it kind of is hidden for some people, is try organizing other items, like in your kitchen, you know, put all of your matching cups together, put all of your matching bowls together, your Tupperware, stuff like that. Even your spices. Just organization in general will be more appealing and pleasing to the eye, and it can make a huge difference. The next one is wall art. You can use scraps of fabric to make wall art. You can make your own by just like drawing something or painting something and replacing photos you currently have in frames already. You can also make a wall collage of cutouts from magazines or photos you already own. Another really easy thing that you can do is rearrange the artwork on your walls that you currently have. Maybe you have lots of artwork that's spread out in different rooms, and that's totally fine, but have you ever considered maybe grouping some of them together, making one taller, making one shorter, maybe swapping frames and putting art in other frames? The next one is by updating textiles by using things you already own to do it. For instance, if you have an old scarf, you could turn it into a pillowcase. Or if you have an old sheet that you're not using, you could also turn that into a pillowcase and use it as a throw pillow on a couch to add some color. Or one of my favorites, you could even, use a bed sheet that you currently have and nail it onto the wall to create a wallpaper. Instantly, you go from a plain wall to something that is patterned, and it makes your space feel entirely new. I know I talk about it in every video. It's kind of hard not to talk about when it's such a good hack. It really is. Another thing that you could do is you could reposition your rugs. You could even stack your rugs on top of each other, or you could even move a rug from one room to the other. The next idea is by changing your lighting. So the easiest thing you could do first is just by simply moving your light fixtures from one room to another, or moving them around a room to different areas to see how that feels. Or you could even update your lamps a little bit by either painting them a different color with paints that you already own, or you could even update a lampshade using those textiles that you're just not really interested in anymore. Just kind of give your lamp a whole new makeover. And regarding paint, you could even paint your lampshades too. I mean, so many different things that you could do. Another thing that you could do is you could do some DIY projects using things you already own to create new items in your home. Maybe you use some fabric to create coasters. I don't know, coasters or artwork, or maybe even a textile blanket, or maybe even a tablecloth in your kitchen. There's many different things that you can do. Or instead of having a vase that you normally use, now you're using this really pretty mason jar that you own, that you also use as a cup, and now you're using it as a vase. So you're kind of repurposing items you already have and using them in new ways to make your space feel different. The next thing you can do is update bedding. You can either just switch out your bedding with bedding you already have. Maybe you've been using like the same duvet for years and years. Use another duvet that you have. Maybe even mix and match different pillowcases and sheets and blankets to give it a new feel. Maybe you layer blankets on two pieces of furniture to kind of make that look different. Maybe you put like a scrap of fabric on the backs of your chairs and then you tie it off with a bow. I don't know. Let's get creative. Look at the stuff you have and think, could I do something with this? Could I put this somewhere else to kind of make this thing look different? The next one is to try a new color scheme. You can do this by rearranging items that you already own. Maybe you start grouping similar colors together in one room, or maybe you create an entirely new color combination and you mix like multiple colors from different rooms. Like grab different items, like this one's yellow, this one's purple. Let's group those together. Why not? Let's try it out. And also let's bring in some plants. Don't forget about that. If you have plants in one room, maybe if you moved them to another area of your home, it'll feel better there. Just take the things you have and start moving them around. This is gonna take time, but if you do it, you're gonna love the outcome. Something else you can do is you can add scarves to window treatments. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. I've done it before, but I would add like really long flowing looking scarves to the tops of my windows, my curtains, to make it look like a valance. So simple. Cost me nothing to do that, just a scarf from my closet. The next one is pretty easy, and that's by making a statement wall. What if you have a bunch of hats in your closet and they all look similar? Maybe make a wall where you get to feature that, and it's an accent wall. Make it intentional. Not only do you now have a wall with a bunch of different colors of hats, but it's also a wall that is functional and holding all of your items. Why hide it away, you know? Or maybe you have an old book that you just don't read anymore, and you rip out all the pages and you put it on the wall, like what I did in one of my makeovers. I know a lot of people don't like this, but to each their own. You can do this with a music book, you can do this with magazines, you can do this with a textile, you can even do this with a Sharpie. Guys, you can do it with a Sharpie if you own one, because we're not buying anything here, remember that. If you have a Sharpie, you can do this. I did it in my kitchen, you know? Easy, simple accent wall, changes the space entirely. And regarding the Sharpie, you can create stencils using cardboard you already have by cutting it out, or paper, and voila, you know, create something that's like this. The next idea is by propagating plants. Maybe you have a lack of plants in your home, and bringing in some green from the outside would make it feel 1,000 times better. If you already have a plant, you can easily propagate it. You can put it in cups you already own and place that in different areas in your home, and all of a sudden you have color and you have life added to the space. And last but not least on the list, and this is something I kind of touched up on earlier when I was talking about rearranging decor, is by creating different height variations within your home. What I mean by this is when you walk into a space, look at the space and notice if everything is all one height. Do it. Think about a space right now, or pause this video and go walk into a space and see, is everything in the space one height? Because if it is, there's a lot of changes that can be made. You can add a picture frame that goes high up the wall. Or maybe you're like me and you have a bunch of vines and you add those to the ceiling and they come down the wall. Or maybe you take a standing lamp from your bedroom and you add that next to the couch to make it, you know, different heights. I promise you, this does make a huge difference, because for the longest time, I had a very one level space, very one level. Like my plant was the same height as my couch. My side table was the same height as my couch. And it just felt weird. And after I learned about height variations and how much of a difference that can make a space feel, once you actually implement that into your space, not only is it going to make everything look like it's designed, but it's also going to transform your space in a new way. It's going to make it feel entirely new. So just take a look at different areas in your home and think to yourself, is everything one height? Do I have anything else that's kind of creating different height variations in this space? And what can I do to fix that? What can I move into here to fix that? These are all of my ideas to help refresh your space without spending any money. If there are some ideas that you came up with while watching this video, feel free to comment them below and share with everyone here, because that is what this is about. It's a community of creatives that are just trying to do fun things and make their homes feel awesome. So on that note, I'm gonna end the video. I appreciate you guys for being here, sticking around to the end. If you're still here, come on, show some love. All right, I'm gonna go get some coffee now, because it's about that time. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I was waiting for you, and here you are. Here, watch these. I heard from someone, if you watch these, you get a free cookie. Whatever type of cookie you want, you get.